What does it mean to be misanthropic? To be misanthropic means to loathe other people generally, to not like them, to have a low opinion of them, to think that human beings are miserable and not worth the effort. And of course, when that is your inner attitude, when that is how you regard other people, what is bound to happen is that your predictions will come true, because you start to relate to them in a hateful manner. You start to accuse them of things, you start to give them looks, you start to look down your nose at them, you start to put them down. And when you're alone, you think bad things about them, and you create more and more of a negative image about them. So when you do that, that reality becomes yours. Not only do you then find more and more proof in the behavior of other people that they are miserable creatures and not worth the effort, but indeed you'll start to see yourself in the same way too. Because we become, in ourselves, in our brain, the way we create our relationships to the world. Our attitude to the world and our attitude to other people determines the interior environment that we generate, that we cultivate, the environment that we end up being bathed in, surrounded by, living in. So what you do to other people, even in your mind, even just in your feelings, in the way you feel about them, you sense them, you experience them, you relate to them, all of that becomes your reality and your truth. And this is a really down-winding spiral. You get yourself into the abyss of bad relationships that way. Not just with other people, but with yourself as well. You don't stand a chance when you think badly about other people. You don't stand a chance at all. Because what you put out, you get back. And when you put out negativity, other people will start warding you off, pushing you away, and want a big distance, keeping you at arm's length. Because that negative vibe, that negative atmosphere is something that we all struggle with. Of course, we all have these feelings about each other. It's a normal thing. But we learn to manage it. It's a bit like when you have a garden, you learn to manage the garden by pulling up weeds. But the weeds will grow. It's natural. They will grow again. If you want to cultivate something, if you want to cultivate a good inner attitude, you have to be able to uproot those negative attitudes and negative behavior towards other people. And that starts with your negative thoughts and your negative attitude towards others. It starts with you thinking about other people in a different way, rather than dismissing them en masse or dismissing them one by one. You need to start relating to them one by one, really relating to them, looking them in the eyes, finding out what makes them tick, finding out what their pressures are, what their stresses are, what their fears are, what their miseries are, what their struggles are. Finding out about that will get you closer to them, will get you in a relationship of sympathy with them, will get you able to have empathy for them when they need your attention and your help, rather than you always judging other people from the perspective of what you need and always feeling that other people are falling short in some way, that they are somehow letting you down, that they are somehow inferior, not good enough, morally inferior to your standards. And that is what happens where you're misanthropic. Your standards of how people should be are out of touch with how people really are. and your idea of what people owe you are out of touch with reality. Nobody owes you anything, and you don't owe anybody anything either. It's just about what you want to happen. And if you want positive and creative and friendly things to happen, then you have to put yourself in a creative, friendly, cooperative mood. So instead of looking at people and finding fault, instead of judging people, instead of condemning them, instead of seeing where they're not doing the right thing, you start focusing on where they are doing good things and how they are actually coping with the stresses and strains of their lives. And when you start appreciating them, you'll see something happens between you, something new. When they feel that recognition, that appreciation, suddenly they will free up and they will come more towards you. They will warm up. The atmosphere will change. You will have done magic with them. You will have made them feel safe. And when they feel safe with you, they'll start to do things with you that make you feel safe in turn. And then you know what happens? You discover this strange thing, which is that we can love each other. We can care for each other. We can be kind with each other. And when we are kind with each other, we start to really feel that connection between us that holds us safe and that nurtures us when we are in need of affection, and that gives us a sense that life is possible and that human relationships are good. Not that we always have to fear others, not that we always have to find fault, but that we can always discover something nice in our relationships with other people, and sometimes just be amazed by the amount of warmth and friendliness and even unwarranted kindness that can suddenly be given to you. And then you get your faith back in mankind. And as you get your faith back in mankind, you get your faith back in yourself as well. So it starts from you. You don't wait to find the right person to do it for you. It starts with you. The activity has got to come from you, from inside. You build it up. It's in between you and other people. Look at them. Find the light in them. Find the life in them. Discover them. Discover who they really are, instead of deciding that they're no good all the time. Because you know what? We're all the same. We're all just hoping for some warmth and some kindness and for some recognition and acknowledgement of who we are. And when we get that, we free ourselves up and we come to life and we love. We love, and when we love, human beings are good to each other. Find out about it. It's well worth it. And don't get constricted and constrained by this horrible misanthropic attitude and this negativity towards other people for the rest of your life. It's a waste of your time